Look at the light falling on your hand at this very moment. Seriously pause and hold your palm up toward the nearest source of illumination. You probably assume that light traveled from a lamp or the sun to get to you. You assume it required time. Specifically, if it originated from the sun, you were told it took exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds. That belief is incorrect. It ranks as the most profound deception your instincts feed you about the nature of reality. Here is the truth that rarely gets spoken. From the viewpoint of that light itself, the entire voyage lasted 0 seconds. In the frame of that photon, the boundary of the sun and the surface of your hand are in direct contact. They occupy the same location. This sounds absurd. It sounds like metaphorical language, yet it represents the unyielding factual mathematics of Einstein's theory of relativity. And if you pursue this line of reasoning, it guides you towards something deeply unsettling. If light exists outside the flow of time, then the radiation originating from the Big Bang is not ancient. It did not depart from the dawn of creation, 13.8 billion years in our past. From light's perspective, the Big Bang is unfolding right now, in this instant. So, which is accurate? Is the cosmos truly ancient, or is time merely a collective illusion that only beings like us experience because we happen to possess mass? Stop viewing reality exclusively through the lens of a linear timeline. That mental framework is fundamentally flawed. I am going to reveal what the universe resembles when you remove the dimension of time entirely. Allow me to demonstrate. We must begin by dismantling the most famous number in all of physics. 299,792,458 meters per second, the so-called speed of light. You committed that figure to memory during your school years. You envision it as a speed limit sign posted on a cosmic highway. You believe nothing can exceed this velocity because some universal traffic regulation forbids it. That perspective is incorrect. That number is not fundamentally about light. Light merely serves as the carrier that disclosed this constant to us. Referring to it as the speed of light is comparable to calling the speed of sound the speed of beeps. It is a catastrophic naming mistake. Here is what rarely gets explained. This quantity, which we will label c, represents the speed of causality itself. It denotes the maximum rate at which any two entities in the cosmos can exchange information. It functions as the refresh rate of existence itself. Why does this distinction matter? Because you typically think of speed as a measure of how rapidly you traverse space. However, Einstein demonstrated that space and time are not separate, independent entities. They constitute a single unified fabric, space-time. Consider this analogy. You are operating a vehicle. This vehicle possesses only one gear, and it operates at maximum capability constantly. You are perpetually traveling at top speed through the combined dimensions of space-time. Right now, as you remain stationary in your seat, you are not progressing through space. Consequently, your entire velocity is allocated to moving through time. You are journeying into the future at a rate of 1 second per second. But what occurs when you depress the accelerator and begin moving through space? You must divert some portion of that velocity away from your progression through time. This represents the fundamental compromise. The faster you travel through space, the slower you advance through time. It operates as a zero-sum arrangement. Light possesses no mass. It has no weight to restrain it. Therefore, it dedicates its entire budget to moving through space. It retains 0% for moving through time. Do you perceive the paradox? We consider light to be incredibly fast, yet from light's own perspective, it is not moving swiftly at all. It simply is not undergoing the passage of time. Educational systems taught you that light covers specific distances within specific durations. But if you were that photon, you would possess no timepiece. So if light does not undergo the passage of time, how can we possibly measure its travel? This is the point where your mind may resist accepting the conclusion. We need to confirm this concept. We need to perform an experiment. And I do not mean inside a laboratory. I mean right here, within your imagination. We are going to construct a timekeeping device that exposes the true nature of the universe. Try this right now. Close your eyes. Seriously, shut them. Picture a massive clock suspended in empty space, a simple analog design with a face, a red second hand sweeping steadily. Tick-tock, tick-tock. 1 second passes with every motion. Now envision me attaching a rocket engine to that clock. I am going to propel it past your position. Initially, I move slowly, perhaps 100 miles per hour. The clock appears completely normal. Tick, tock. But now I increase the thrust. I accelerate to 50% of light speed. Observe the second hand. It is dragging, moving sluggishly. Instead of a crisp tick-tock, it stretches into tick, tock. This is where your intuition misleads you. You might think, oh, it merely looks slow because the light carrying the image takes longer to reach me. That explanation is incorrect. It is not merely appearing slow, it actually is running slow. Inside that rocket, time itself has thickened, becoming viscous like molasses. If I attempted to cook a 3-minute egg aboard that vessel, you would observe me waiting 4 minutes for completion. This is not a parlor trick, it is established engineering. The GPS functionality on your mobile phone depends on this effect. The satellites orbiting overhead move at considerable speed, causing their onboard clocks to run slower compared to the phone in your pocket. If engineers failed to program those satellites to compensate for this temporal discrepancy, Google Maps would become inaccurate by miles within a single day. So time dilation is an authentic phenomenon, but here is the aspect that truly challenges comprehension. Let us push the throttle further. We advance to 90% of light speed. The clock now barely advances. Tick. You, remaining on Earth, age 10 years. I age only 5. We push further to 99.9%. Now I could traverse the entire galaxy in what feels to me like a weekend. Yet back home, civilizations rise and crumble during my absence. You have heard of the twin paradox, undoubtedly. One twin departs, returns younger. People enjoy that narrative, yet they overlook the truly disturbing element. They always halt the story at 99%. They marvel at how drastically time is stretched. But what occurs if we refuse to stop? What happens when we depress that throttle all the way to maximum? What transpires when we attain 100%? What occurs when we become the photon itself? The clock does not merely become extremely slow. The second hand halts completely, frozen, and this realization leads us to the most perilous number in existence, 0. We have reached the boundary. We are traveling at sea. The mathematics does not simply become peculiar at this juncture. It involves division by 0. Contemplate this. If you journey at 99.999% of light speed, you could cross the entire Milky Way galaxy, spanning 100,000 light years, within mere minutes of your personal time. Everyone remaining on Earth would have perished by the time you arrived. Yet for you, you barely had time to complete a single podcast episode. But now accelerate that final minuscule increment to 100%. At precisely light speed, the time dilation factor becomes infinite. This signifies that time ceases entirely. For a photon, there exists no before, no after, no during. Imagine you are that photon. You are born deep within the core of a star. You travel for what we perceive as 1,000,000 years before striking a telescope on Earth. From our perspective, you are ancient. We regard you as a messenger from the distant past. Yet from your perspective, instant. The moment of your creation is exactly the same moment as your destruction. You are born. Click. You strike the telescope. There is no journey. There is no elapsed travel time. There is no experience of duration. Wait, if you do not experience time, then you cannot experience change. And if you cannot experience change, do you even truly exist? This is where your mind mounts a defense. But I observe light moving. You protest. It requires 8 minutes to reach here from the sun, correct? Wrong. That observation represents an external perspective. Those 8 minutes belong to our time frame. It is the toll we pay for possessing mass and remaining relatively stationary. Yet for the light itself, the trip is instantaneous. So when you gaze at a star situated 4 billion light years distant, you are observing light that has been traveling for 4 billion years, according to your measurement. But according to that light, it departed just now. It has not aged a single day. It has not aged a single second. It is quite literally timeless. This is not philosophical speculation. This is the content of special relativity. And if light does not undergo time, then the entire concept of now begins to disintegrate. Because if I can witness a star exploding right now, and for the light that explosion is occurring right now, then is that explosion situated in the past or the present? Here is the answer that will haunt your thoughts at night. It is both, and it is neither simultaneously. Welcome to the concept of the block universe. This is where the situation becomes genuinely uncomfortable. You believe you inhabit the now, the present moment. You assume the past has vanished and the future has not yet materialized. That reasoning sounds logical. It feels intuitive. Yet if light does not experience time, that entire framework is deceptive. If time ceases for light, what becomes of now? Consider this. I am standing adjacent to you. We both concur on what now signifies. We inspect our watches. They match. But then I board a spacecraft. I accelerate away at 99% of light speed. Suddenly my now cuts through the universe at a completely different angle compared to yours. My now might encompass events that have not yet happened for you, or events that occurred years in your past. This phenomenon is termed the relativity of simultaneity. There exists no universal now. There is no omniscient perspective from which everyone agrees on the current time. Your now is merely a localized slice of space-time. It is a personal illusion generated by your specific velocity and position. So if no universal now exists, then the universe does not resemble a timeline. Instead, it resembles a block. Imagine a loaf of bread. The entire loaf exists simultaneously. The past, the present, the future, all are present together, frozen within a four-dimensional block. You are merely a slice progressing through that loaf. But light does not move through the loaf. Light exists outside the slicing process. Light connects the entire loaf instantaneously. Therefore, when you observe a star, you are not peering into the past. You are viewing a slice of the universe that simply occupies a different location within the block. The explosion of that star and the light striking your eye constitute the same event within the four-dimensional block. This is why physicists assert that the distinction between past, present, and future is a stubbornly persistent illusion. Because from the photon's perspective, the Big Bang is not a distant memory. It is unfolding right now. So if the Big Bang is still occurring for light, then the universe is not 13.8 billion years old. Wait, that assertion seems impossible. Allow me to restate that. For light, the universe possesses no age whatsoever. And if the universe has no age from light's standpoint, then what implications arise for the light that originated at the Big Bang? You may wish to be seated for this portion. This is the section where we challenge the most sacred tenet of cosmology. You have encountered it countless times. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. We declare it as established fact. We print it on t-shirts. We inscribe it in textbooks. But pause. Who exactly is measuring those 13.8 billion years? We are humans positioned on a rocky planet, orbiting a star that moves relatively slowly through space. We are measuring time based on our personal experience of it. However, let us consult the most crucial witness in the entire cosmos, the one that was genuinely present, the cosmic microwave background radiation, the CMB. This constitutes the oldest light in existence. It represents the residual glow of the Big Bang itself. It has been journeying for 13.8 billion years to reach our instruments. Or has it? From our perspective, indeed, it has traversed the cosmos for eons. It has witnessed galaxies assemble, stars ignite, and planets cool. It has observed the complete narrative of creation. But let us pose the question directly to that photon. Hey photon, what is your age? 0. How long have you been traveling? 0. When did the Big Bang occur? Now. Wait, you mean 13.8 billion years ago? No. Now. This encapsulates the unsettling truth. For that primordial light, the instant of its birth within the hot, dense soup of the early universe, and the instant it collides with the detector of the Planck satellite are identical moments. There exists no interval. There is no history. The Big Bang is not an event relegated to the past. For the radiation that permeates the cosmos, the Big Bang represents an ongoing, present-tense reality. It is erupting right now, at this moment. We are the ones who have stretched that single instant into 13.8 billion years of cosmic drama. We are the ones who have inserted the dimension of time into the equation. We observe the universe and perceive a lengthy, slow-moving film. Light perceives a solitary photograph, a single flash. Everything that has ever transpired and everything that will ever transpire is contained within that single flash. Consequently, when we state that the universe is 13.8 billion years old, we are misrepresenting reality. We are imposing our localized, slow-motion human perspective onto a cosmos that is fundamentally timeless at its core. But the implications worsen. If time equals 0 for the photon, what about space? If you do not undergo time, do you undergo distance? Because if you can travel instantly from point A to point B, then how separated are point A and point B? The answer will compel you to reconsider the scale of the universe. All right, this is where we encounter the scale comparison that truly challenges comprehension. We have discussed time dilation, the slowing of clocks. However, Einstein revealed another phenomenon. Length contraction. Recall the trade-off. If you move through space, you progress slower through time. But what occurs to space itself? Space contracts. If you fly past me at 99% of light speed, my spaceship appears flattened like a pancake from your viewpoint. I appear compressed. This is not an optical illusion. Space literally compresses along the direction of motion. So if you are the photon, moving at 100% of light speed, this means time ceases and space contracts to 0. Not extremely small, 0. The distance between the Sun and Earth, 93 million miles from our perspective, equals 0 for the light. The expanse across the Milky Way, 100,000 light-years from our perspective, equals 0 for the light. The span from the Big Bang to your eye, 13.8 billion light-years from our perspective, equals 0 for the light. Here is the culmination. From a photon's perspective, the universe possesses no size whatsoever. It constitutes a single point. The origin of the universe and the termination of the universe are in contact. They occupy identical coordinates. Every star, every galaxy, every black hole is superimposed upon every other within a single, dimensionless point. This explains why light can travel instantaneously, because it has no distance to cover. It is already present everywhere simultaneously. The photon is omnipresent within its own reference frame. So when we describe the universe as vast, when we discuss billions of galaxies separated by inconceivable distances, we are characterizing the universe as observed by matter. We are depicting the universe as seen by entities that possess mass and move slowly. We are describing the universe from the perspective of the snail, yet for the light, which constitutes 99.9% of the activity within the universe, the cosmos is a singularity. It never expanded, it never grew, it never aged. It is a solitary flash of existence. And if the universe constitutes a single point from light's perspective, then what does that make us? We are the ones hallucinating space. We are the ones hallucinating time. We are the ones trapped within a slow-motion replay of a single instantaneous event. And if you contemplate this further, it elucidates why light is older than the universe itself. Because from light's perspective, the universe has not even commenced yet. But wait, if light exists external to time and space, then where does it actually exist? This brings us to the central question of this presentation. Is light genuinely older than the universe? When we employ the term older, we typically mean existing for a greater duration. Yet if light does not experience time, if it exists in a state of zero duration, how can it possibly be older than anything? Here is the subtlety. When we discuss the age of the universe, we are referencing our timeline. We are discussing the clock that commenced ticking for matter at the moment of the Big Bang, but light is not synchronized with that clock. Light constitutes the background against which that clock ticks. Consider a motion picture. The characters within the film experience time, they fall in love, engage in conflict, grow elderly. The film lasts 2 hours. Yet the screen itself does not undergo the film's temporal progression. The screen exists externally to the film's timeline. The screen is older than the film because it is not constrained by the film's duration. It existed before the film began, and it will persist after the film concludes. Light is that screen. Light is the medium through which the universe articulates itself. It represents the fundamental currency of reality. Matter is simply light that became slowed and entrapped in a loop. Mass is merely energy, which is light that opted to take a pause. So when we assert that light is older than the universe, we intend this in a profound metaphysical sense. Light is the constant. Light is the invariant. Light is the absolute. Everything else, time, space, matter, is relative. Everything else transforms depending on your velocity. But light remains unchanged. It perpetually moves at sea. It never undergoes time. It never undergoes distance. It constitutes the eternal, unchanging foundation of reality. So in a sense, light is older than time itself, because time is something that transpires for matter as it navigates through space. Light does not navigate through time. Light simply exists, and if light is timeless, then the universe we perceive is deceptive. Because we observe a universe that is aging, we witness stars expiring, we observe galaxies drifting apart, we observe entropy increasing. Yet if we could observe the universe from light's perspective, we would perceive something entirely different. We would perceive a universe that is flawless, eternal, and immutable. We would perceive a single brilliant flash of pure existence. And this realization fundamentally disrupts cosmology as we currently understand it. All right, take a moment to breathe. We have dismantled time. We have dismantled space. Now let us dismantle the conceptual map. Cosmology represents the study of the universe's history. It is constructed upon timelines. The Big Bang, inflation, the cosmic dark ages, the era of star formation, the epoch of dark energy. It constitutes a beautiful narrative. It possesses a beginning, a middle, and potentially an end. But recall the photon, the universe's primary protagonist. From its perspective, none of that occurred. There exists no history. There exists no evolution. There exists no timeline. The entire chronicle of the cosmos is merely a byproduct of our perspective as matter-based observers trapped in slow motion. We sketch maps of the universe that resemble expanding cones. We discuss light cones and event horizons. Yet these maps are drafted by us for our own use. They do not represent objective reality. If you requested a photon to sketch a map of the universe, it would not produce a timeline. It would produce a solitary point. It would produce a singularity where everything transpires simultaneously. This demolishes the notion that the universe possesses an age. Age is a concept applicable only to entities that undergo time. Yet the universe consists predominantly of light. Most of the energy within the universe exists as radiation. So is the universe genuinely 13.8 billion years old? Or is that simply the duration we perceive it to have been operating because we are viewing the film in slow motion? Here is the radical proposition. Perhaps the universe is not aged. Perhaps it is instantaneous. Perhaps the Big Bang and the heat death of the universe occur simultaneously within the four-dimensional block, and we are merely consciousness progressing through that block, experiencing it slice by slice. This implies something profound about existence itself. It implies that the universe is not a process, but a structure. It is a static, timeless object, a jewel, a crystal. We are crawling along the facets of that crystal, mistaking the gleam of light for the passage of time. Yet the crystal itself simply resides there, eternal. Therefore, cosmology is not the study of history. It is the study of geography. It is the study of the shape of the timeless block. And if the universe is timeless, then what are we? Why do we undergo time if the universe does not? Why are we uniquely trapped within the illusion of now? All right, so light is timeless. The universe constitutes a single instantaneous event from the photon's perspective. But what about us? Why do we experience time? Why do we age? Why do we observe stars twinkling and seasons cycling? The answer is straightforward, yet also profoundly significant. We possess mass. Mass represents the reason we experience time. Mass is the reason we cannot achieve light speed. Mass is the reason we remain confined to slow motion. Recall the trade-off. If you move through space, you progress slower through time. However, because we possess mass, we can never attain 100% velocity through space. We are compelled to crawl. We are compelled to drag our cumbersome atoms through the fabric of space-time, and that dragging generates friction. That friction is time. Consider it analogous to wading through water. The water resists your movement. You must push against it. Light soars through the air like a bird. Yet we remain stuck trudging through the water. We are the ones who create time by moving slowly. We are the clocks of the universe. The universe possesses no clock. The universe simply exists. Yet we, with our beating hearts, our ticking atoms, our oscillating electrons, we are the ones measuring the duration of existence. We are the ones counting the seconds, and because we count the seconds, we generate the past. We generate memories. We generate history. Without us, without matter, the universe would be a timeless, static flash of light. It would be perfect, unchanging, and eternal. Yet it would also be empty. It would possess no narrative, no drama, no evolution. So perhaps time is not a curse. Perhaps time is a gift. Perhaps time represents the price we pay for existence. Perhaps time is the sole mechanism through which the universe can experience itself, because without time there is no consciousness. Without time there is no thought. Without time there is no you. Therefore, when you gaze at the stars tonight, remember this. You are observing the universe from the slow lane. You are viewing a film that is already concluded. Yet you are the sole spectator. You are the sole entity capable of appreciating the beauty of the unfolding narrative. And that brings us to the final contemplation. So here we are, at what feels like the end of time. I want you to attempt one last thing tonight. Venture outside. Look upward. Locate a star. Any star. Envision the light from that star striking your eye. Now recognize something profound. That photon did not journey for millions of years to reach you. It did not traverse the empty void of space. For that photon, the moment it departed the surface of that star and the moment it collided with your retina were identical instants. You and that star are in contact. You are connected by a bridge of timeless light. The universe is not the vast, lonely expanse filled with separation that we imagine. It is a singular, unified point of existence. We are the ones who stretch it outward. We are the ones who fabricate distance and time. We are the ones who compose the narrative. The universe is a flash, a single, brilliant, eternal flash of light. and we represent the slow-motion camera capturing it frame by frame. We are the witnesses to the miracle of existence. We are the universe experiencing itself in slow motion. So do not fear time, do not fear aging, do not fear the conclusion. Because from the perspective of the light, you are already eternal. You constitute part of the fabric, and you always have. Now, if you wish to comprehend why time progresses exclusively in one direction for us, why we can recall the past but not the future, you must understand entropy. And that narrative awaits another occasion. But until then, continue looking upward, and remember, the light is older than the universe, because the light itself is the universe. Thank you for watching.